it's Dustin with TechMD. Today we are going to be fixing the S20 Plus 5G. And not fixing, but just more or less tearing down the brand new phone here. But this video is going to be detailed and it'll show you how to actually work on this phone.
Hey everyone, Nicole here with Cellbotics. We are all hands-on cell phone and computer repair training center. We have trained hundreds of students from across the country right here in our training center located in Greenville, South Carolina. Stop being afraid to do repairs, stop searching for things because a lot of things you don't even know what to search for, and don't practice on somebody else's device to grow your skill. Come on down and get training that'll give you the skill set to do the repairs and diagnostics to make the real money. Be sure to use code TechMD at checkout and you'll receive $50 off of your course. I look forward to seeing you in class.
I just did the Ultra, so this should be very similar. Just gonna get our iFlex tool here and start slicing in. You have to go around the curves carefully without breaking it. You don't go too deep in there because there's cables in there that you can cut and slice. Same thing, just get around the edges here and then bend your tool around the unit and just slice right down. Should be able to separate it now. And as far as I understand, this one does not have the millimeter wave. So as you can see here, the adhesive is nice and perfect. If it doesn't, just push it forward or adjust it because you want to save this. And they put a microphone on the back of this one. That's interesting. It connects directly with these connections here. Just gonna set that back on the heater. Basically, in order to get that back off, you need it on the heat pad for about 5 minutes at 99 degrees Celsius here. I like to leave it on there for about 5 minutes because it's going to help separate that glass and make it a lot easier. If you have a heat gun, you can do that. You just want to get it to warm to hot to the touch to separate. And then a hairdryer would take much longer, so I wouldn't even recommend a hairdryer. So we're gonna go ahead and just start unscrewing all these screws and we're gonna organize it on this blue pad here. Last time there were some glued on items here, so we're just gonna work on the heater, so that way every glued on item gets removed easily. You don't have to do this, you can warm it up afterwards, but for speed here, we're gonna just keep it on the heater. Now these screws here, you don't technically need to remove these two or these two if you're just replacing a battery or a camera. You also don't need to take these screws out as well. But if you're replacing the glass and LCD, you're gonna have to remove everything out of this frame to move it to the new frame in glass and LCD. Lots and lots of screws. Sometimes the automatic screwdriver doesn't work as good. I still recommend the 2UUL screwdriver. It's one of the best ones out there. All these tools can be found in the link in the description below. All right, now let's take off all the covers and plates here. Oh yeah, there's one hidden screw. I forgot about that. How I know about this is because of the Ultra. Well, last time there was a hidden screw. It looks like this is just connected right here. There we go. I'm going to disconnect the battery and all of this. Let's get the battery removed from the heat as soon as possible. So you can use alcohol to get it out, but I just like a simple amount of heat and the battery will come right out with no pain whatsoever. I'm just trying to lift this speaker up here. Little force is required. Few more screws here. Careful not to slip or you'll damage the charge port. Go ahead and lift this up. Take our plastic spludger here. That'll help lift it out. And if you need to remove the vibrator motor, just make sure it's nice and warm here. And really you only need to move this battery, this bottom piece, and lift this whole thing up to do charge port. You don't have to remove anything up top. Take out the millimeter wave, or I should say 5G antenna. These are, I'm not 100% sure if this is both 5G and low band, mid band, and high band. As I've heard, only the Ultra has all three. So this actually you can just leave on there. Go ahead and inject a SIM tray and disconnect the front camera here. Motherboard should be ready to remove out now. Looks like we got an extra screw I didn't see. Set that off to the side. You know what, we can set it right here. Try this again. There we go. You go ahead and remove the camera. Make sure it's nice and warm because this is glued on. You will damage it, but if it's already broken, then it doesn't really matter. But you still got to remove it in order to replace the front glass LCD in frame. Hopefully you don't have to remove this when you get the new frame, but you might have to. If it's warm enough, this thing should come up pretty easily. That's your ear speaker. I'm going to keep the glue with it, that would be ideal. It may not have to be transferred if you do have this full assembly part here. We're not going to go ahead and separate the glass as we don't want to break this brand new phone. That would be terrible. All right, that's it, guys. Now I'm going to go ahead and put it all together. I'll show you camera disassembly real quick as well too. Almost forgot about that.
ASAP created a solution to maximize the total amount of power that can be safely generated without using fossil fuels. This is enough energy to power solder equipment, laser machines, AC and ventilation systems, and any heating element for all sorts of repairs you might encounter. Building mobile solutions that cut your expenses. Whether you have 1 store or 20 stores, maintain the territory, all while cutting overhead rent. Do away with your added expenses, cut costs, and order your custom van now.
Don't do this unless you're actually needing to replace a camera. Okay, so these cameras look like they do come out individually, but they are quite glued in to the bracket itself. So be careful when removing this. I'd recommend using some heat if you do need to remove it. But they are quite glued in, so I'm not going to remove any more than this piece coming out. But these all separate with heat. Okay, so be careful not to touch the lenses. And slowly clip everything back in. Okay, everything's clipped in, and now we're able to put this whole contraption all back together. Let's put some of these smaller components together first. There we go. Never recommend using an automatic screwdriver on motherboard screws, just because you could slip and damage it, and that would not be good. Slip on the earpiece here, front camera, kind of slides in and down. That's good. Put these connections back in. Put the main board back in. And start clipping some of these connections. Not all of them though, because you gotta get the battery in next. All right, battery. I like to connect it before setting it down. So that way I can put it in flush where it belongs. I can put all these cables back. Look at Samsung have these nice little helpful arrows. Look at me putting this in backwards. This is why we need helpful arrows, because, you know, I guess we're just too dumb to put the cables in properly. Let's set that back in there. And now we can start screwing all these screws back in. Make sure you have your back glass on the heater. It's getting nice and warm so it can be sealed properly once we stick it back on. All these tools that you see here, you'll be able to find on our website. And the links will be in the description. Same with the parts. This piece on first. And it has to clip in. My screwdriver is losing magnetism, so we're just going to remagnetize here. Don't want to put the screw in yet. Put this clip in here first. There we go. Now we can put the screw in. Luckily, all these screws are pretty much the same size because I think I got a few confused. Due to diligence here, I did forget a screw, so I'm going to be diligent here and put this screw in. That's the screw I missed. Good job, Dustin. Actually, there are some slight size differences with these screws, so just try to make sure that they go back in their proper spot. We're going to go ahead and put our SIM card tray in here. Come on. Oh, I'm doing it upside down. And we're gonna go ahead and put our nice and warm back on. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put it in my smasher, but you can also put it in, or just hold it down tightly for a couple minutes. If you use T7000, I recommend 5 minutes of pressure. So it's just a pressure holding fixture of mobile phones. It works really good, and I've used this for quite some time now. Anyways, you guys leave that in there for a couple minutes, and we will test it here shortly. All right, now we're kicking it on, turn it on, make sure it works. Make sure I didn't break anything. I think I broke something. It's not turning on. What could I have possibly missed? Where's the charger? Just needed a power boost. Sometimes phones do that. All right, guys, well, that's it. Please like and subscribe. And thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.